All right. Looks like someone's been getting curious about the world of sleep. Let's dive into these articles you've been exploring and see what we can uncover. Hmm. We've got the science of sleep, how it impacts your health, even some tips for better sleep. Ambitious.
Sleep is definitely having a moment, isn't it?
It really is. And it's about time we give it the attention it deserves. After all, we spend about a third of our lives doing it.
Right. It's not just downtime, it's essential. While we're out cold, our brains are hard at work.
Yeah, like a whole overnight renovation crew working behind the scenes.
hmm
Speaking of which, let's break down these sleep stages. I always hear about deep sleep and REM. What's the deal?
Okay, so picture this. You're drifting off to sleep. That's NREM sleep, the first phase. And it's got layers to it like an onion.
An onion.
Okay, maybe not the most appealing analogy, but there are layers, 3 stages actually. N1, N2, and N3. N1, that's the light sleep when you first doze off, might even jerk awake thinking, did I just fall asleep?
Oh, totally. Like when you're on a train and almost nod off.
Exactly. Then you transition into N2, where things get interesting. Your brain waves slow down and you're less easily awakened. This stage is all about memory consolidation.
Hold on, so while I'm catching those ZZZs, my brain is busy filing away everything from the day.
You got it. Think of it like your brain hitting save on all that new information you took in. And finally, we hit N3, the deepest sleep of all. This is where the magic happens. Muscle repair, growth hormone release, immune system boost. It's like a total body tune-up.
Wow, deep sleep is a VIP experience for your body. But what about those crazy dreams? That's when things get really interesting. And weird, to be honest.
That's REM sleep. Just when your body is in its deepest slumber, your brain throws a party.
A party with like flying elephants and showing up to work in your pajamas.
Maybe. Dreams can be strange, that's for sure, but they're not just random nonsense. Your brain becomes incredibly active during REM sleep, almost as if you were awake. It's crucial for processing emotions, consolidating memories, and even sparking creativity.
So we've got this intricate sleep cycle with all these different stages happening throughout the night. But how much sleep do we actually need? Is there a magic number, or does it vary?
That's the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It varies depending on your age, lifestyle, and even genetics. The National Sleep Foundation has some recommendations, though. Did you know newborns need a whopping 14 to 17 hours?
No wonder they're always snoozing.
Right. And then as we get older, our sleep needs gradually decrease. Teenagers need around 8 to 10 hours, which is still a lot more than most adults realize.
Which makes those early school start times even more questionable.
Tell me about it. And it's not just about the quantity of sleep, but the quality too. Even if you're logging enough hours, if it's constantly interrupted or restless, you're not reaping the full benefits.
Okay, so consistent, high-quality sleep is key. But what happens when we don't get enough? We all have those occasional sleepless nights, but what about chronic sleep deprivation? How does that impact us?
That's when things can get serious. Imagine running your phone on low battery mode all the time eventually. Even the basic functions start to suffer.
Yikes, that it's a little too close to home. So what are some consequences of skimping on sleep? What happens when our batteries are constantly drained?
Well, for starters, your cognitive abilities take a major hit. We're talking memory issues, difficulty concentrating, impaired decision-making, and even reduced creativity. Remember how important N2 sleep is for consolidating memories? Sleep deprivation throws a wrench in that whole process.
That's definitely something to consider, especially if you're trying to learn new things or perform at your best. Consistent sleep is like the secret ingredient for success.
But it's not just our brains that suffer, right? Doesn't sleep deprivation impact our entire body? So we've covered how crucial sleep is for our brains, like seriously important. But what about the rest of our body? You mentioned our body's repair mode getting interrupted. What's actually happening there? Right, so remember that deep sleep stage we talked about? N3. That's prime time for growth hormone release, crucial for your body to repair tissues and build muscle.
Okay, so if I'm hitting the gym, good sleep is just as important as my actual workouts.
You got it, those rest days. Your body's using that time, especially during sleep, to rebuild and get stronger. And it's not just muscles. Sleep plays a huge role in keeping your immune system strong.
Okay, hold on. Tell me more about that. One of the articles you shared mentioned something about cytokines.
Yeah. Cytokines are these proteins that help your body regulate its immune response. And you know what? Your body actually produces and releases them while you're asleep. But if you're constantly sleep deprived, your immune system is basically running on fumes, making you way more susceptible to getting sick.
Wow. I knew sleep was important, but I had no idea Even one bad night could mess with my immune system that much. Okay, so we've got this whole body reset happening while we sleep. It's like our internal mechanic is hard at work. But how does our body even know when it's time to sleep? Is it just like, oh, it's dark outside, better for shut down?
That's where internal timekeeper comes in, the circadian rhythm. It's like our bodies are hardwired to this 24-hour clock, and it influences a ton of bodily functions, including sleep.
Ah, the circadian rhythm. I always hear about that. So that's why you crave sunshine at certain times or hit that afternoon slump. It's not just willpower. Our bodies are literally programmed to respond to those light and dark cycles.
You nailed it. And that's why things go haywire with shift work and jet lag. You're trying to reset your watch to a completely different time zone overnight. Your poor body is totally out of whack.
Or like trying to make a symphony orchestra suddenly start playing in the middle of the day. Chaos. Speaking of which, if our bodies are designed to sleep when it's dark, what about all the artificial light we're exposed to at night, especially from our phones and computers?
Huge factor in sleep disruption. Remember melatonin, the sleep hormone? Well, our bodies need darkness to produce it. But our devices emit blue light, which basically tells our brains, hey, it's daytime, stay awake, even when we're trying to wind down for the night.
It's like trying to fall asleep with the sun shining right in your face.
Yeah.
So what can we do about it? I mean, I can't just ditch my phone and laptop entirely, as much as I'd like to sometimes.
You don't have to go cold turkey. A good first step is creating a digital curfew. Put those devices away at least an hour before bed. Let your brain disconnect.
Okay, I can definitely try that. But let's be real, sometimes I do need to use my laptop at night. Are there any other options?
Absolutely. A lot of devices now have those blue light filters you can use at night, like a night mode setting. It reduces the amount of blue light, so it's not as disruptive to your sleep.
Game changer. I'm definitely going to start using that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the whole darkness thing down. What else makes for that perfect sleep sanctuary? What should I be thinking about?
Well, imagine what else makes a good sleeping environment. Cool, quiet, comfortable. Temperature is key.
Oh, for sure. If my room is too hot, I'm definitely tossing and turning all night. It's the worst.
Right. Our bodies naturally cool down as we prepare for sleep, so a slightly cooler room actually helps with that. Most experts recommend somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't underestimate the power of a quiet room either. I'm a light sleeper, so any little noise wakes me up. What about like earplugs or those white noise machines?
Exactly. It's all about minimizing those sleep disruptors. If you're sensitive to sound, those can be super helpful. Earplugs, white noise, even a fan, whatever, drowns out that distracting noise.
Right, like creating that little bubble of peace and quiet. Okay, so we've covered darkness, temperature, and noise. Anything else we need to consider when designing our sleep sanctuary?
Don't forget about comfort. Having a comfy mattress and pillows that give you good support and alignment can make all the difference between a restful night's sleep and waking up feeling like you got run over by a truck.
So true. There's nothing worse than tossing and turning all night because you're uncomfortable. Okay, so we've talked about setting up a sleep-conducive environment, but what about what we eat and drink? Does that impact our sleep as well?
Absolutely. What you eat and drink can seriously mess with or improve your sleep quality. Let's start with the obvious culprit, caffeine.
Yeah, gotta love that morning coffee, but I know it can keep me up at night if I have it too late in the day.
Caffeine's a stimulant, so it's like hitting the go button on your brain. And it has a half-life of several hours, so even that afternoon coffee can affect your sleep later that night.
So no more late-night coffee runs for me if I'm having trouble sleeping.
You got it. Now, what about alcohol? I know some people swear by a nightcap to help them sleep. What's the deal with that?
I was just going to ask about that. I always thought alcohol makes you sleep more soundly.
It's tricky, kind of a double-edged sword. Alcohol might make you feel sleepy initially, but it messes with your sleep later in the night. You end up with less REM sleep, wake up more frequently, and ultimately your sleep quality takes a nosedive.
So even though you might fall asleep faster, you're not getting that deep restorative sleep that your body really needs.
Exactly. And remember those restorative processes we talked about earlier, like muscle repair, immune function. Those can take a hit when alcohol disrupts your sleep cycle.
Okay, noted. So caffeine and alcohol are out. What about food in general? Does it really matter what we eat before bed?
It can, for sure. You know how some people feel sluggish after a big meal? Imagine that feeling trying to coincide with sleep. Not fun.
Ugh, yeah, you'd be all sluggish and uncomfortable. Not exactly a recipe for restful sleep.
Exactly. Eating a big meal right before bed makes your body work overtime to digest, which can make it way harder to fall asleep. If you're going to eat close to bedtime, keep it light and finish a couple of hours before you actually hit the hay.
That makes a lot of sense. But are there certain foods that can actually help us sleep better? Like, I'm always up for trying new things if it means better sleep.
You know how they say magnesium is good for muscle cramps? Well, it might be worth a try for sleep, too. Foods rich in magnesium, almonds, leafy greens, even dark chocolate can promote relaxation and better sleep.
Magnesium, that's a mineral, right?
That's right. And it's essential for a ton of bodily functions, including, you guessed it, sleep. It helps relax your muscles and calm your nervous system, which can lead to more restful sleep. Another bedtime snack you could try is a small bowl of oatmeal.
Oatmeal, why is that? I would have thought that would just give you energy.
It actually contains complex carbohydrates that can increase your serotonin levels. And serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, our sleep hormone. Remember how important melatonin is for regulating our sleep-wake cycle?
Right, it's like the signal that tells our bodies, okay, time to wind down for the night.
Exactly.
This is fascinating. I had no idea our diet could affect our sleep so much. It's like everything is connected.
It really is all connected. And speaking of connections, we talked about how important exercise is for both our physical and mental health. But did you know that regular exercise can actually significantly improve your sleep quality as well?
Wait, so hitting the gym can actually help me sleep better at night?
You bet. Exercise helps regulate your circadian rhythm, making it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. Just be mindful of the timing. Working out too close to bedtime can keep some people up at night.
Yeah, I've heard that. So morning workouts are a better bet then.
They can be for some people, but honestly, the best time to exercise is whatever time works best for you and your body. Pay attention to how you feel and adjust accordingly.
So listen to your body and find what feels right.
Exactly.
We've talked about creating a sleep-conducive environment, what to eat and drink, and the importance of exercise. But what about those nights when your mind just won't quiet down? We all experience stress, and I know that can definitely mess with sleep.
Definitely. Stress and sleep have a complicated relationship. It's like a vicious cycle.
Hmm.
Stress makes it hard to sleep, and then not getting enough sleep makes you even more stressed.
It's like my brain decides that nighttime is the perfect time to replay every embarrassing moment from my past and worry about things I have absolutely zero control over.
It happens to the best of us. When we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol, the fight or flight hormone. And cortisol is great for dealing with immediate threats. But when we're chronically stressed, our cortisol levels stay elevated, which can really interfere with sleep.
So how can we break this cycle? How do we tell our brains to chill out and let us sleep?
There are a lot of different relaxation techniques that can be super helpful. One that you might find particularly beneficial is mindfulness meditation.
I've heard that term mindfulness, but I'm not really sure what it is. What do you actually do?
It's all about being present in the moment, paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
So instead of letting my mind race about all the things I need to do tomorrow, I should just focus on, like, the here and now.
Exactly. And there are specific mindfulness exercises you can do to calm your mind before bed.
Like what? Give me an example.
One simple technique is called a body scan. You basically lie down and bring your attention to different parts of your body, just noticing any sensations you feel.
So instead of thinking about my to-do list, I focus on, like, my toes.
Pretty much. It might sound strange, but it can be really effective in calming your mind and preparing your body for sleep.
Hey, I'm willing to try anything at this point.
It's definitely worth a shot. And the great thing about mindfulness is that it's a skill you can develop over time. The more you practice, the better you'll get at quieting your mind, and the benefits go way beyond just sleep. Mindfulness can help you manage stress and anxiety throughout your day.
Okay, I'm sold. Sign me up for Mindfulness 101. So we've got mindfulness meditation as one technique for managing stress and relaxing before bed. What else is there?
Deep breathing exercises can be incredibly effective too.
Deep breathing. But isn't that just like something we do naturally?
We do, but a lot of us don't breathe as deeply as we should, especially when we're stressed. We tend to take these short, shallow breaths, which can actually make anxiety worse.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we practice deep breathing the right way?
There are a bunch of different techniques, but here's a simple one. Inhale slowly through your nose, counting to 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7. And then exhale slowly through your mouth, counting to 8.
4, 7, 8. Got it. And I could do this lying in bed.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm adding that to my bedtime routine. Are there any other relaxation techniques that can help with sleep?
Journaling can be a great way to clear your head before bed.
Journaling. So, like, write down all the things that are stressing me out.
You can, but it might be even more helpful to focus on the positive. Try writing down a few things you're grateful for or that went well during your day.
Oh, a gratitude journal. I love that. End the day on a positive note.
Exactly. And it can really help shift your focus away from any worries or anxieties that might be keeping you up at night.
So we're talking mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, journaling. It's like giving our brains a little vacation from all the day's craziness, right?
Exactly. It's crucial to disconnect and let our brains recharge. And, when we don't prioritize that downtime, it can impact more than just us. It affects our relationships, too.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but it makes sense. When you're sleep deprived, you're definitely more likely to snap at someone or be impatient.
Exactly. When you're running on empty, it's easier to misinterpret things, get frustrated. It's like you're seeing everything through this fog of fatigue, and
Right.
that can lead to arguments, resentment, you name it.
Wow. So making sleep a priority isn't just self-care, it's relationship care too. Like investing in our emotional well-being as much as our physical health.
I love that. It's so true. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. The science of sleep, sleep hygiene, how to fight those sleep disruptors. But before we wrap up, got any sleep myths we should debunk? There are so many out there.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I've heard people say you can train yourself to need less sleep. Is that true? Can I just will myself to function on 5 hours a night?
Wishful thinking, but unfortunately, no. While some folks naturally need a bit less sleep, for most of us, consistently getting under 7 hours is doing more harm than good. You can't trick your biology. Our bodies need sleep just like they need food and water.
That makes sense. What about catching up on sleep on the weekends? I'm guilty of that one.
Another classic. We've all been there. But while sleeping in on weekends might help a little in the short term, it's not a long-term solution. Our bodies crave consistency, especially when it comes to sleep. It's like trying to undo a week of bad eating with one day of salads.
All right, you win.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, what's the one thing you hope listeners take away from all of this, if they only remember one thing about sleep?
It's simple. Sleep is non-negotiable. It's not a luxury. It's not something you earn later. It's fundamental to your health and well-being, right up there with eating well and
It's a
exercising.
foundation for everything else.
Exactly. When you make sleep a priority, you're setting yourself up for better health, more happiness, and honestly, more success in all areas of life.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. Wow, we really did cover a lot today. It feels like we've only scratched the surface of this whole sleep thing, though.
There's always more to learn. And, all this talk about sleep cycles and dreams has me thinking. We touched on how sleep needs change as we age, but what about how our dreams change throughout life? Now there's something to ponder.
That is a great question. Something to sleep on, maybe. And for everyone listening, if this conversation has you curious to learn more, don't forget to check out our show notes. We'll have links to all those fascinating articles we discussed. Until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.